Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the former world champion Terran. In the red, it's Micro Jackson ByuN. Up against the best Protoss in Korea. In the blue, the smiling assassin. We have Hero. A best of 9 Terran versus Protoss showdown, with these two over 30 gamers deciding who's going to take home the prize and who is soon going to be relegated to simply casting and begging you for likes and maybe even subscribes. Jimmy, what are we at? 1,539 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Hero with a suspiciously placed probe in the bottom left corner of the map. ByuN, on the other hand, also scouting with his Reaper, because ByuN scouting with an SCV is indeed heresy and will not be done. And I think he's trying to time out. Wow, the timing was perfect. Comes in with the probe just behind the 2 Reaper Hellion. And will successfully see the command center on the low ground. Might be able to get up even higher. Potentially even delay things. ByuN turns around with the Reaper Hellion to deal with this. And is he going to give it all away? No. Okay, he sends back a single Reaper. This will actually delay the command center a bit. And he's trying to play a bit coy with it. But that's not the only type of fish here on Abyssal Reef. Adept comes up, but the Reaper Hellion gonna poke and prod. One of them badly bruised. Another Shade coming in, and that delay that the Probe brought out. Wait, who's flanking who? The Shade is thrown, and the Adept on top of things. 1 Adept, 1 Hellion, and 1 Reaper taken down. But a Hero is not yet done. A Stalker trundling across the map. The SCVs are pulled to the low ground. A Siege Tank is completed. Hasn't bothered with anything else early. Trying to chase down the Adept, but the Siege Tank, not in siege mode, still great single target DPS. And now there's a medevac, of course, as things get a little more complicated. Reaper being sent out. Medevac as well. The Reaper will be taken down by the Stalkers, doing their job. And now ByuN has absolutely nothing back at home. Whereas Hero does not decide to go in. He's coming back. He realizes that that Siege Tank is very unlikely to be sitting back and trying to provide ByuN with a false sense of security, but instead trying to inspire a sense of insecurity in the probes, because the Siege Tank is technically in range of the mineral line and can hit several of the mineral patches. Meanwhile, Hero is expanding to his 3rd base over to the left side. Blink, of course, is on the way, though a little on the later side of things. And now this 1 Siege Tank firing over the gap. Very, very difficult to dislodge cost effectively. He could kill it, but it would likely... Oh my. The probe just obliterated. What? Yep, that's a Siege Tank. Hero shades the Adept in. A mistiming, to say the least, but he's able to find the other tank, but the pickup, what a save! He drops it back down. The medevac should be taken out. He actually, with a Viking on the ground, helping out a lot. An absolute brawl to start things off, and now the Stalker's being chased away. Viking still doing so much damage. I think ByuN got the damage he needed, despite the fact he lost... Ooh, great micro out of Hero, picking off those Marines. But the Viking will walk home awkwardly. The Siege Tanks and medevacs will be walking straight into the unit's loss tab. Now sieging up, stay in the trees, and Hero walks right into it. The Stalker obliterated by the Siege Tank fire. Did not see it coming, and now won't be seeing anything at all. Blink and you'll miss your life. Meanwhile, Siege Tank coming back, but there's another one on the high ground. Hero trying to find some damage. The worker count is about even, 47-45. Hero starting to pull ahead now that he has a 3rd Nexus completed. And behind this, ByuN, of course, going for a much more bio-oriented play. Stalkers get into the main. Will he recall out some very smooth Stalker micro from Hero throughout so far, besides the blindly blinking and the Siege Tank fire, of course, but Stalker taken down, but the Viking gets 3 kills on Hero's side of the map. Now will be chased away. The Blink Stalkers, not quite enough. And the hectic early game will conclude in one fashion or another. As ByuN works his way towards a bio push and Hero has more gateways in production. A Viking just hanging out in the dead space in the corner. But still alive for now. Warp Prism off to the right flank. No extra gases from Hero. He's really focused on making sure he has the charge lots here, but unfortunately for him, the Warp Prism! ByuN just waltzes out, trying to evade any sort of army, and instead finds a Prism, which is a massive win for him at this stage. That Warp Prism was supposed to... He starts to remake it immediately. That tells you how incredibly important it was to have something to drag ByuN back, and without that option, well, now this Terran push is looking very difficult to deal with. Stim is done, +1 as well. Hero doesn't even have a forge, so upgrades are a long way off. More charge lots being warped in. Meanwhile, another Prism! Hero. Combat shield isn't done, which is the only real saving grace here, but ByuN, there and back again. A siege tank story. He sieges up the same location, a second Widow Mine combined with the siege tank fire. And the multiple flavors of splash damage are doing terrible, terrible damage. Meanwhile, 4 Stalkers on the other side will cancel the third base. But ByuN trying to cancel Hero entirely, a fake Colossus hallucinated. He's just going to pick up and dive more units into the main. A recall is out of the question at this stage. The Warp Prism strays too close yet again. Combat shield is completed. I think ByuN is quite aware that Colossus is not real. He jams himself into the corner, and he picks up whatever he can fit in 2 medevacs and gets out. That Marauder just taking its sweet time getting away. Hero deals with the supplies not too terrible. Well, for anyone right now. Actually, Hero being about even on supply after that push puts him in a very good spot. The downsides being the upgrades, somewhat convolutedly at this stage, but now the Warp Prism. No, not again. Not again. How do you... Is he... Who's flanking who? Can he lose a 3rd Warp Prism in almost as many minutes? Not quite. Double drop in the main. Stalkers yanked back up into the Prism. The Bio Ball. And, well, the probes. Maybe now's not the time for a transfer. Recall's back. It wasn't really enough necessarily to deal with it. Okay, probably was at the end of the day. He's trying to do blank with both the Prism and the Blank Stalkers, and the Marauders are just tearing through it all. The charge lot's coming up, trying to draw some Widowmine shots. Not going to be enough ByuN. Now looking towards the high ground. Not going to find it, but still ready to brawl out. And Warp Prism still at the back, but meanwhile, ByuN, he came back for more. He's dropping again. And the 4 charge lots, he gets into melee range, guns them down. The pylons creating a choke point for ByuN to work against. He drops, rotates around. And the Stalkers are getting torn asunder. The Immortal, the only thing to deal with these Marauders, though, helping out a lot. The Marines and Marauders cleaning things up at the 3rd base. Widowmine drawn into the Terran army. Another one as well, softening up most of the Terran units, but the drop is coming back around. One unlucky Marauder gets obliterated, but the rest are going to make it back into the main. And another Warp Prism is coming across, and the Widowmine is dragged in. Warp Prism number 3 taken down. Hero down to 90 supply. ByuN at 120. He's opened up quite a lead. And from here, with no upgrades, with no splash damage, with less workers in a terrible position, he just locked his zealots out. Hero, what have you done? Now this, we've seen Clem versus Max Packs. We've seen the kids' table too many times over. But now, it's time for the sloppy uncles of StarCraft to show us how to play. No, Jimmy, edit. Just edit that out. All right. But both these players, I mentioned at the start, ByuN 31, Hero, I think 32 or 33, which puts them a full decade older than both Clem and Max Pax. Clem 22, Max Pax 20. So this is the original series here. And don't you know it? Here come the Widowmines, a trail of explosive breadcrumbs that the Zealots have to eat in the face because they have no mouth. Another Marauder backflipping its way into the Units Lost tab. What a disaster piece of a game, but ByuN is looking beyond stop, though he loses. No, wait. Full medevac goes down. Ghosts on the field. Hero has +1 attack and he just started +2 ground weapons. He's finishing his Robobay as ByuN starts +3 infantry weapons. To say this is bad is definitely understating things. The supply could be worse, but the army composition, I think ByuN is too big to fail at this point. There is no army that Hero can currently field that can take this down. He's going to try a Ruptor. Big Zealot counterattack. The supply depot is open, but it creates a bit of a choke point. ByuN clearly looking the other way, but the charge lots are cutting through besides the one that gets stuck on the Chew Toy depot. Force field scattered throughout. Disruptor halfway done. Vikings hit the deck. The Bio army is still just ripping through everything. He snipes some Zealots. Even when the Disruptor pops out, it can't shoot in this location because Hero has made a better wall against ByuN's Terran than he has. Okay, just one. Okay, 1 Korean G, 2 English Gs. And that brings us to the end of game number 1. Kind of forgot what we were doing for a moment there. Oh, well, that certainly sets the tone. This match, shout out to Enki, I was going to say the StarCraft caster, which was accurate, but the Spanish caster for putting on this, the first of hopefully many pro series. If you happen to speak Spanish, mi amigos, make sure to check them out. We got a link in the Jimmy in the description as well. All right. And also edit that part out. No bueno. Game 2, Crossline. What a mess. In the best possible way. Well, could have been better. Hero probably could have lost 1 or 2 less warp prisms, and then we would have had a bit more of a game on our hands. But it's Hero. The continuing Korean roulette of StarCraft 2. We have to figure out whether Hero, during this game or this series, is going to be closer to a Diamond player or the best Protoss player in the world. Because his Forrest Gumpian Protoss sometimes just makes magic happen. And sometimes makes you think he believes in actual magic. So, we will see. Hero scouting very early, ByuN not scouting at all. As is customary. Will the probe actually end up getting... He's already softened up multiple SCVs. Another one. Hero just being that annoying probe that absolutely everyone hates. You know it's really not that big a deal. And he's come back in all the SCVs. But beautiful micro slips away again. That slippery, slippery probe. Buttered it up beforehand. No other use for butter, really, so... Well, after that game 1, when it comes to the builds, like if you just read out the builds in the production tab, it'd be pretty standard. We got siege tanks versus blink stalkers into charge with a bio push behind. It was the execution that really added the spice. We'll see if this time around either player decides to vary it up or we stick with the playbook. Of course, the reason you usually see the early blink against early tank pushes. I was lining up for just a great explanation here. We had like a minute or 2 to fill because neither player was going to go for some early aggression. You can tell because ByuN saving up for the command center, now dropping it down. Hero clearly expanding. I had that all mapped out. So like and subscribe, pretend I said something profound, and now we got to change gears entirely because Hero actually slapped down a Stargate. Which is the second most common, a distant second, but second most common option. The risk and reward is very high on the Stargate. There's a chance you just fly directly into a Widow Mine, maybe a Cyclone, but a Widow Mine obviously more deadly, with an early Oracle. And then, you might not lose the game, But you've just spent the price of a Stargate and gotten nothing. Besides a scout, they have a Widow Mine, which is like... You could have done that. You could have just assumed that in the first place. It's more than likely. But if the Oracle gets in, or if ByuN commits to the same sort of push he did last game, he may lose the entirety of it because he has almost no anti-air. In fact, right now, his anti-air is just a couple Marines. Now, the downside of this, of course, is the Reaper Hellion coming off. 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions going to work. Oracle comes out. Everybody piling in. Yeah, get in here. Or out of here, either way. Oracle burns multiple Reapers and drives the Hellion back. Twilight Council on the way immediately behind. Hellion gonna try to dart in. Actually slips by the Adept because he has any amount of units, so therefore he's gonna send it into the base. It may actually end up getting some probe kills here, hilariously. And, oh, the probe, citizen's arrest. Stop right there, criminal scum. Probes take him down. They couldn't do on the other side, but there's already enough Marines back at home. So the Oracle, and he didn't use energy recharge. Revelation keeps tabs on things. I saw the comment. If I'm going to try to appeal to newer viewers or returning viewers with the incessant and just eye-catching clickbait titles, we should explain what the units do. And as you can see here, the Marines have guns. He shot at the Adept for a moment, but here comes a Cyclone, a Viking, and there go the Oracles. I was going to segue once again. I'm really mistiming my filler commentary right now. But I really, once again, did not expect Hero to just YOLO in with the Oracles. Yeah, well, so the Cyclone has approximately 4,800 range. You know, so, okay, I think I have a moment. I saw the comment. If you're gonna do the clickbait titles, which are to draw in new viewers, not our illustrious regular viewers, who already know who these players are and have probably been watching them for a significant percentage of their lives. But believe it or not, some people returning to the game. Anyways, should actually explain what units do. Basic explanations. Yes, most people have heard it before, but I mean, when you have it on in the background in the other room and you're wondering, and you only look over occasionally when my voice gets weirdly shrill and or high-pitched, or I say something incredibly weird that Jimmy should have already edited out. But instead of actually explaining anything, I just got real meta with it, which is on brand. But the Cyclone has a lock-on ability that on about a 4 or 5 second cooldown, I think it's like 4.3 exactly, can lock on to any unit. And once it locks on, it can attack while moving. And that counts as spell damage. It does 400 damage over 14 seconds, which is enough to kill pretty much any unit you could have in the early game, up to a battle cruiser, which has 550 HP, I want to say. And no battle cruisers here at the moment. He just blinks in. I'm trying to explain Cyclones. Well, we'll see an explanation here. They cost 125 or 150, 100 and require a tech lab, though, nowadays, so quite expensive. Reactor gets taken down. They can easily beat a Stalker or any other unit in 1v1. Very good at taking out Stargate units. But, very fragile. And really do require micro to be used effectively. So that's why they're quite good and 1 or 2 in the early game to deal with things like the Oracle, but they drop off later unless you're willing to commit to them with their upgrade, Meg Field Accelerator, which increases damage by 50%. The real key part is 1, being able to attack while moving at super long range, and 2, it's spell damage, which means it goes right through armor and does maximum damage every time. Just waltzes right up and takes the medevac out of the sky. Slaps down another revelation. And keeping tabs on things. Armor is on the way. This has somehow ended up as quite a macro game. Despite the hectic start. The losses... ByuN ended up bottled up. He didn't really kill... He killed 5 probes, which is more than the 0 SCVs killed by Hero, I will say. But he also expanded to his 3rd significantly later. He's getting his 3rd right now as Hero gets his 4th base. And a very key difference from last game. Hero is already getting Colossi and has charge nearly completed. ByuN might have the upgrades, Hero's just kind of trundling in. Yes, a depot is distracting about half the units. That well, there goes the Oracle. The force field, ByuN just runs through the Zealot side blades. Hero with the classic attack about 6 seconds before +1 timing. Which is, not ideal. But then he sends in some Zealots with the +1. And those ones much more effective. And ByuN, maybe a bit of over-micro, running through the Zealots multiple times, and suddenly Hero. It's not about how many units you lose, it's about how many you have to replace them. And Hero's up 40-50 supply. And he wins. Game over, man. Well, we're all tied up. My. We're going in El Dorado for game 3. And I have no expectations. I'm very whelmed by this series so far. We'll see if we end up with an over or under. But this is the classic ByuN versus Hero that we know and at least can enjoy as a guilty pleasure here. Because after watching so much Clem versus Max Packs, where yes, the games can end abruptly. Yes, they can be full of chaos. It really does feel like a fencing competition or combined with a chess match. But here, it's just a bar fight. Hero just sends in half his army getting stuck at a depot. Meanwhile, ByuN micros past charge lots to try to target stalkers, which may have been the only way to make those charge lots do real damage. ByuN can't help himself sometimes when it comes to the bio ball. Is that a Macarex? So, named after... So, the Macarex is the Max Pax build. We're going to add a lot of references here. I'm not going to cite them really either. But the Macarex is the Max Pax build of Wings of Liberty. There was a player named Maca on Team Prime, which was ByuN's team as well. That so many Terrans were doing proxy rack strategies... He thought about, wait a second, you could still do a macro build and just put the barracks somewhere sneaky, like near your base, and you can just float it back in. Where did that SCV come from? And that way, when they scout, they think it's a proxy racks. But no! They were bamboozled. Now, unlike Max Pax, Maca was never really known for anything else because that build worked like 3 times, and then better players like ByuN stole it, and I don't believe he really had any more success. So he did not graduate into being one of the best, if not the best players of his race of all time. But to this day, the hidden barracks strat, at least in my mind, I'm sure ByuN's. Well, I'm not sure ByuN's. I feel like ByuN is like, no, I made it better. I did it way better. It should be mine. All right, well, like the people like, Gumio stole my build. He proxied a battle cruiser. It's like you and 400 other gold players today did that strategy, okay? Which I'm proud of you for playing an actual game. What do you mean it was 3 years ago? 4? You know it's 2025, right? Like and subscribe if the years go by too quickly. It'll make you feel young again, letting YouTubers influence you. The probe somehow still evading persecution from the Terrans, but he did spot the double Reaper play. Hero did not really respect this at all. He didn't really change anything. He's got effectively the same sort of setup. Maybe another chrono boost on the gate, but bouncing the stalker around. Bit of cyberbullying there. And what else do we got? A Hellion. We're ending up at the same place either way. Starport. Widow mine as well. So, the grenades. ByuN using the unit that he got nerfed twice. Though not against Protoss, but apparently he's still going to get some damage done. He's going to kill multiple probes with these Reapers. 3. I can count, and they have a little number on the side, which is convenient. Number of workers killed in the last minute or so. Widowmine burrows. Did he notice? Oh, he doesn't. He just walks. He very much did not have blink. Wait a second. I think he went robo. You know what? Maybe he did get bamboozled by the prize. Adept just shades right in. Gonna immediately have to turn around as the Marines and the Widowmine will chase. The pickup is there. The Twilight Council is done, but Hero doesn't right now have the gas in order to get blink. Meanwhile, the medevac will be spotted by both the Observer and the probe at the Watchtower. How many units are back at home? He has 4 Stalkers ready. Charge begins. We're gonna pretend that's what he wanted all along. Despite, is he gonna get like a Templar? It doesn't really matter right now. He has to survive this attack. The medevac boosts in, which means it cannot boost out, which means he just loses everything. Well, that's a disaster for ByuN to start things off. A Templar Archives is on the way. Meanwhile, ByuN just... he's sending out a Liberator. That will also be scouted. There's just a train of observers heading across the map. He has 3 observers now. All of them headed towards ByuN's side of things, though maintaining position. The Liberator, just a single Liberator. So here's the thing. There's nothing to make this do damage. The key, a lot of the time, to making the Liberator effective is making them look the other way for any amount of time. Like more than 0 seconds. That or just hiding in the corner. Just the existence of this Liberator. Oh, there's a waterfall over here. How beautiful is that? And now we'll watch them murder. He scouts with it. So, with no air early, with no Stargate, there's no way to hunt it down. But the Stargate, way too much of an investment to deal with that Liberator. Right, that is not something worth considering at this stage. Because you make a Stargate to deal with the Liberator, or even get Phoenixes to deal with medevacs. And a bunch of dudes with drugs and guns would just run you down. He doesn't even need medevacs if you're going for Phoenixes. And that is why you don't usually see a Stargate that early on, unless it's part of the opener to do counter damage. Now we're in a bit of an odd scenario, because Hero is going to have Storm completed. He's going for a Psy Storm drop. It's gonna get weird. The triple, quadruple threat is on the way for ByuN. He's got 1-1 Stim Combat Shield in production. Liberator still sitting at the back. Hero has been pretty stingy with the probes. 54, 57 of them now, building them 3 at a time. And Storm is done. The Templar, he rains it down. And 7 kills. Meanwhile, the Liberator will force a lot of mining time lost. And there and back again. Liberator keeping all the Stalkers busy. Well, even if they had Blink, there's nothing they could really do right now. But he comes back in for another round. Does he have an... oh, an Arca! Nope. ByuN takes a few pot shots at his own refinery to make sure his weapons are working. Sure, that was it. And now Hero's trundling across the map with the full complement. A little bit of everything. He's got Immortals, he's got Stalkers, a few High Templar trailing around. Meanwhile, ByuN picks up with the majority of his army and is heading for a drop. So, here we go! Meanwhile, oh no, the Liberator's gonna siege up. But Hero's attacking the front. ByuN is in purgatory right now. His medevacs are halfway across. The boys have to be pulled. He's warping in at point blank because there's no anti-air. The Archon is due. No, wait! The Templar! The Storm! He misfires a Storm! 20 LCVs are dead! He wastes a warping! Immortal's coming up! There's no answer for the double drop! I think the Liberator is still alive! It'll finally get taken down! But Hero, he fumbled it at the goal line! And ByuN runs it back across the field! And that hereby exhausts my sports ball metaphors for the day. Give me a touchdown here on the YouTubes, and we can score a 3-point like and subscribe. Yes, the hashtag goals. 22 probes dead. ByuN's double drop doing an order of magnitude more damage. He repowers his gateways with the... Well, at least the warp prism survived. So here are the two choices for Hero. Either the warp prism lives and the army dies, or the army dies. No. And also the warp prism dies. Or the warp prism lives. Okay, now I'm confused. Which puts me, I assume, in the same camp as Hero. ByuN, gonna go for it again. Attack up the center. Drop in the main. Does he have... There's still no blink. He hasn't even started it. And I don't think he ever will at this stage. There's still that prism. Are there any ghosts on the field right now? No. That Templar throwing some water balloons out there. It has the energy for Storm. Another double drop in the main. Always able to pick things up. The double drop now circling around ByuN. Templar gets a pretty good connection on the storms. But the Bio Army, and it's falling apart. Yep, that's, it's a disaster. It's all coming apart. The Liberator did what it needed to do. The double drop. Hero completely flubbed the attack. Stumbled up the high ground. Into the units lost tab, and now 25 probes. ByuN still microing like 5 units in a medevac because he's ByuN. But well. That should. Hero not gonna tap it out yet. He's gonna try to chase things down. A single Templar gets some medevac, softens up a bunch. Now, if the medevacs fly directly over all this, there is a single gap here. Might be able to take out a Templar, doesn't. Both players with drop ships. Yes, we're just in. What is this, direct strike? Takes out a medevac. Another, he tries to snipe off the Templar. The Marine gets slaughtered. ByuN, one by one, sending his units into potential destruction. Possibly the only way. The trickle-down death. The only way he could lose this. The warp prism, the pre-MPs, the storms are still amazing. I think he got that last Templar, though. There's no more storms available. Another EMP. The warp prism, another round is on the way. He's got some sentries in there for force field, which is certainly a choice. Meanwhile, the ghosts, he's looking for the prism. The immortals are not going to be enough. And ByuN goes up 2-1. Another cheese grater of a game, which I don't know what that metaphor exactly is supposed to mean, just like neither of those players knew exactly what they wanted to do with the game. But at the end of the day, ByuN ends up the second one out of it, therefore the winner. Best of 9? Okay. Game 4. Whispers of Gold. I don't. Now ByuN's sending an SCV out. ByuN does not scout with SCVs. Oh, no, don't just... Okay. At what point does it become a I think it has to be over the 50, like the halfway mark to become a proxy. That's still a hidden Rex. Though it's not quite a... I would call a macro Rex anything within, like, one screen of your base. Like something that's deliberately hidden as close as possible to be able to float back in. This is just a hidden barracks. I have spoken. Alright, write that down somewhere. On a stone tablet or something to beat over the head of your opponents. Double gas behind. I was thinking about another gate. I think he was just mapping out the positioning. Hero actually doing some architectural planning for once. So, and now Hero is countering ByuN's hidden rack strategy. because the hidden racks is mostly to force the wrong reaction after you scout. Hero has already pre-countered this by not scouting. Because if you don't know what your opponent is doing, you can't react to the wrong information. Which is some real 2000 IQ moves there. You know, ByuN just sending the Reaper out. The Reaper's still a strong tool in the early game against Protoss because it heals. And there's no Protoss unit besides the Adept that can actually chase it down. So you run the risk. You do have to be on top of it, much like the Cyclone. If you are not paying attention or making the most of it, the Reaper's just a waste of money. Like there's you should have just scouted with an SCV. But the way ByuN's been using them with those Reapers and Hellions, surprisingly effective until Warp Gate finishes, which is right around 4 minutes, maybe 4:30 or so, when you start ramping that production up. Before then, there's only 2 or 3 gateway units, just like right now, as we have the Reaper Hellion coming across. The Sentry was energy recharged. Hallucinated Phoenix taking a look around. He'll never expect a real Phoenix behind this. I don't think 2 Reapers are going to be able to pick off the Sentry there, but with a Hellion in tow, they're healing. A 3rd unit, a Stalker's on the way, but a 3rd Reaper is coming up as well. So here we are. The barracks is floating back home. Targets the Sentry. Guardian Shield popped. And the grenades doing some damage. He's just going to go for it. Takes it down. And now just targeting a Stalker. He's going to get hit. All the Reapers die, but both Hellions get away. So 3 Reapers for a Sentry and a Stalker. Is it worth it? Honestly, I have no idea. Of course he was going to go for it. But I have no idea whether it was worth it. We'll see. The lack of having... So without the Sentry for Hallucinated Phoenix Scouts, that means Hero will be limited to actual Phoenix Scouts. And this will make the Cloaked Banshee build, which can be hard countered by the Stargate, but likely won't be, because Hero is hiding his Phoenixes. So he doesn't want to reveal them because it'd be too easy for ByuN to put together a response. But because of that, he won't be scouting the fact that there's Cloaked Banshees coming across, and if the Cloaked Banshees show up before either there's 1, detection, or 2, a shield battery in the mineral line, it's almost a GG moment. Thankfully for Hero, he's going for like this mech Protoss. He's going straight from Phoenix into Robo, which, mech, not as good for Protoss because they can't repair, but it's an old strategy. It still checks out. Though it works a lot better if your opponent is going for something like a big barracks push, which ByuN, I mean, it's ByuN. But it shouldn't be an outright GG from Hero, but it's not going to be good. He does not have shield batteries. And the Observer must be in position. Banshee Cloak is done. He cloaks. The Observer is halfway there. So, the probes, run away! He's gonna kill a couple in the main, but that could stack up the probes for the Hellions. Yep. The Banshee taken down by a very angry squad. And the Hellions get in! But lifts up one, lifts up another, knocks it down. And now 5 Phoenixes. Okay. Mass Phoenix. Now, this is when Phoenixes become good again. Well, they never weren't good. It's just, since he doesn't have the color, well, okay, he can just pick up every single Marine. Which does solve a lot of problems. Now ByuN has to be totaled up inside his own base. He has turrets on the edges. Now he has to put a turret near the mineral line. Banshee comes in again. Will be driven away. Doubles back, but the Observer spots it. And the Phoenixes will strike it out of the sky with a vengeance. Immortal. Charge lance +1. Stim and combat shield. A wide array. Looks like we're going once again into a more stereotypical mid-game. There will already be Phoenixes and Colossi, both potentially countered by mass Vikings. It's a numbers game, though, especially before Ghosts are out. Phoenixes in equal numbers are usually about enough, especially with the Colossi doing damage to anything on the ground. So, if Hero is able to get the Colossi out by the time ByuN even thinks about a third, he's in a very good spot to defend any sort of push and have the unit composition he needs to continue forward. Some Tactiboys pulled. There aren't even any medevacs with this. ByuN is effectively all in on siege tanks, marines, and marauders. There is no third command center either. Is this all the boys are going to pull? Well, he's still rallying. The army supply is about even. But, well, the hallucinated Colossus as well. The charge lots are already done. Picks up one tank, forced to knock it down immediately. And, well, scans himself, looking for observers, trying to make sure he doesn't get caught. ByuN is on very borrowed time now. Hallucinated Colossus is spotted, but he won't always have it. Cutting up the reinforcements with the Phoenixes. More SCVs coming across the map. ByuN steps up, and now the siege tanks are in range of the shield battery and potentially the Nexus. The target fire, he doesn't know which Colossus is real. It actually wastes some volleys on the hallucinated one, and the real Colossus finally goes down. Wait a second, ByuN is stepping forward, but another Colossus just in time, and the Phoenixes are able to get some pickups, and GG, we're tied up yet again, as Hero picks ByuN up and slams him down in order to take another game. 2-2. The beauty of these games is how unpredictable. I truly don't know, even seconds before the game ends, who's going to win. And I'm not convinced these players do either. Hero knew he had time on his side, but engaging into a bunch of siege tanks and marines always has a potential to go horribly wrong. But Hero again strikes back. Exhausting. Hasn't even been that long. Terran versus Protoss, pretty stereotypically, usually shorter games than the other non-mirror match counterparts. Zerg, well, the Zerg matchups, that is. But that doesn't mean less action. In fact, because of the existential danger that most of the early game units pose to each other, is why we get these sort of roller coasters. Two gases on one base from Hero. Usually you don't get the second gas in the main until after you expand. I wonder if this is adapting to ByuN's sort of Mass Reaper style. And by Mass Reaper, I mean building more than one Reaper. Let me have this. Zealot is on the way. Hero's up to something. Will it be literally up? Or metaphorically so? As getting the Cybercore 2 gas with no scout? Neither of them are scouting now. This is just completely blind. Yeah, neither of them sent a single worker. A Marine. There's not even going to be Reapers. Spylon on the corner of the base. Hero just rushing a sentry scout, which I guess is about as quick as you can get one, so. Huh. With that energy recharge, the hallucination, a much more realistic option early, and there's really no way for Terran to shut it down. And even if you do maybe like a cyclone or enough Marines, which is unlikely, then you've given away that you have those things just to shut it down. So while it does require you to spend that 100 gas and build a sentry, you do get a guaranteed scout. The reason you don't always see it is because that 100 gas slows down the rest of your tech pretty dramatically. So just because you can see it coming doesn't mean you can stop it. But Hero's like, I have one sentry, I have one stalker, I have 0 fucks, let's go. This is what they call a deadly timing. And the potential for force field, wow, Hero saw that. And now the sentry's Hellion rather is getting in, and he looked the other way. Come on, Hero! Getting heroed right now, and losing some probes. The oldest and most obvious play. ByuN sent the Hellion in, and then walked down the ramp at that exact moment. And Hero really, he should have known better, but. Meanwhile, the medevac. Oh, the stalkers are piling in. Medevac loads up yet again. Recalls back. How many stalkers? What 2 stalkers does not intimidate ByuN at all? He just waltzes in further, takes down 1, probes are pulled off the line, Hellion's at the natural. The fire and fury is at 4.5 minutes in, just after 4:20. ByuN blazing these probes into death as right now he's just putting together such a convoluted build that it makes my analogy look clean and planned out. But it ends up working, and that's the thing. You say it with confidence, you execute with confidence, and people will only grumble at how ridiculous it was. Meanwhile, Jimmy, we gotta do so much editing today. Get your Windows Movie Maker out. The stalkers are in the main. ByuN now has 2 siege tanks, neither of which are sieged. The Raven on the other side, the tank, not covering enough of the mineral line to keep the stalkers. Didn't he just recall? Yeah, recall still is 30 seconds out. So these stalkers are in here, well, until they aren't one way or another. Okay, well, that's another way, I guess. The SCVs are pulled. The boys are off the line. And now the siege tank, he blinks over the top again. Recall still like 20 seconds out. ByuN gonna lose even more. There's an auto turn in the main base. Gonna get a couple more probes. 39 workers apiece. ByuN has a bit more supply at the end of it. Hero does not have a 3rd base. Advantage ByuN. But wait, he doesn't have stim. He just started it. How many barracks? He's going, that's gonna be 3. Hero doesn't have a 3rd. He doesn't have any other tech. He doesn't have charge. So I'm sticking with advantage ByuN. Stalkers coming in. Snipes. Oh god, there's another tank. But he can, don't do it. Hero, just don't. Okay. The stalkers would have died well before the tank did. Meanwhile, the Raven select all army. Tries to get some more. Just poking and prodding. The Marines and Marauders are down there. Oh. These two just slapping each other around. I'm imagining, like, with a banana peel. All right, no banana. They already ate the banana. Hero metaphorically, as Protoss don't have mouths, but just the banana peel, like that. You can get a real whip on it. Just like it's a smack. And while you're contemplating that, enjoy Hero's usually incredible, sometimes absolutely horrible blink micro, as Hero goes into ByuN's base, ByuN goes out of ByuN's base. Unfortunately, that means ByuN will be losing combat shield. Stim Pack would have been the better pickoff, but of course you can't know which one is upgrading. Getting combat shield still pretty good. And now the sampler pack of Protoss units on the high ground. Charge is not done yet, though. The Warp Prism coming back around. He's going to try to drop on top. Immortal Barrier. The Stalkers will get blasted. The Immortals not quite targeted. Colossus tumbles. Immortal lives. Nothing else does, which I guess is appropriate. And now ByuN goes home? Now you're going to be a coward about it? Oh, he did build a third command center, I guess. That makes some sense. So, the game will go on. Somehow that was, again, another weirdly even fight as Hero stumbled into a good flank. I mean, he set it up. ByuN committing all out to the tank push without really realizing where the Warp Prism had gone. So, that advantage ByuN is still maintained. But it's a lot more tenuous as Hero starts to get his tech online. Oh, well, losing the Warp Prism and only getting one very angry charge. Did you really need to? Why did you burrow the mine? Succeeding you, Marauder. ByuN really wanted that summon dead, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Hero will attack with the most intimidating theoretical group of Protoss units, but in reality, honestly, like 6 Marauders could probably kill this. Okay, well, as you can tell, these two evenly matched. For a long time, ByuN, Hero, and Dark were the big three in Korea. The 3 players who played in all the tournaments against each other, just circle jerking around all day, having a great time. And by that I mean sometimes having some of the best series, sometimes having some of the best series in very different and much more convoluted ways. We don't see... ByuN hasn't been playing as much and hasn't been finding as much success since his prodigal son Clem has truly redefined and perfected Terran. But still, obviously going strong, and you can really tell these two are cut from the same cheesy cloth. I had a lot of words I had in my mind there. And they will remain there for fear of getting demonetized. Vikings over the top. The Disruptor's underneath. Does he have 2 robos, or has he just been chrono boosting? Yes, pretty much everything to get that many units out. I guess we're 10.5 minutes in. The medevacs are somehow already out of energy before the fight even really starts, as ByuN needs to send these units to rehab, or for at least a little bit of a break. They're never going to get healed up at this rate. The Disruptors, those tanks, but Hero just goes straight through the gap. The Disruptor volley fires off 3 shots, comes up empty. Hero warping in another round, though. ByuN's actually gonna take down the destructible tower. Yeah, I'm not locked in here with you. Or at all, as he drops that and keeps Hero from chasing him down. Two-two's on the way for ByuN. But Hero he now has the economy and the production. And with Disruptors on the field. That is a dangerous army. Reinforcements cut off, including the medevacs. And suddenly ByuN is in a much more all-in scenario. Yeah, he's just fighting. The Marauder's being targeted. No, ByuN, don't do it! No, he picks up and he goes for the main. A mass recall with, well, whose base is it anyways? It seemed like a good idea, but the choke point is asphyxiating right now. And beyond, the Colossus coming back. There aren't enough stalkers left to chase another Terran army. Again, who's flanking who? Everyone else is piling into Hero's third. 22 SCVs died, 11 probes, no bases taken out. Are we really going to play? Is this really going to even out? Are you? ByuN drops the mules. That'll keep his economy on life support. Hero warps in another round. Those 2-2 infantry weapons and armor about to complete. That's going to be a huge advantage for ByuN. Even with +2 weapons finishing momentarily, Hero. Those gateway units just got significantly less capable of dealing with this. And if he gets caught out of position, he needs the splash damage. He recalled out of position, which is an impressive feat. We don't mind softening up some of the zealots and giving away the position. On top of the base, some warpins, optimistic. Hero coming back. A lot of those zealots are already softened up by the mines. ByuN putting himself in position to potentially pick up and get out. And he does so. He'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Meanwhile, another attack over to the right flank. Hero struggling. Get it? Right now, ByuN is just tearing him apart. The Nexus under attack. And ByuN, but where are the robo units? Colossi and Disruptors nowhere to be seen. Ghost getting cut down. ByuN keeps dropping the base like it's a Skrillex album. Hero warping in not enough units to deal with this. Colossi stepping up, but a single Marauder might be enough. No, it's not going to be enough. Kind of close, though, and it wasn't even at full HP. Marauder is not taking no go. There's a siege tank. What? Hero can't seem to dislodge any of this permanently. And ByuN, well, losing the Medivacs. Disruptor shot, point blank range, flinging out a couple more, picks up, gets out, and Hero's down 30 supply. Another drop coming in. And to be no, go. Oh, that's not gonna work. He just recalled into the Marauders and the Marines and the mines. It's a disaster. And once again, we're gonna flip-flop back and forth. Wait, Disruptor shots to save the game. No, hits only a Zealot. And once again, we're gonna flip-flop. And ByuN. You know, I really mistimed that whole GG. This whole series has been mistiming pretty much everything. Both my commentary and the player's gameplay. I stand by that. Though I'm sitting down, so that's already inaccurate. Well. EMP drops, and we're going to Game 6. Hero, GG, ByuN. Up 3-2. Not up 3 games. Then he would have won at this point. What a disaster piece between these two. Pure chaos. Neither player able to land a killing blow, but instead they're both bleeding out on the floor, trying to grapple with one another. But everything's all slippery, and it's dark. Or maybe Dark's watching. Maybe both. Why can't it be both? It's probably both. Either way. Neon, violet, square. ByuN is sending out an SCV. Hero is sending out a probe at the start of the game. Of course, this is what we're... Why wouldn't we just be sending out workers? Are they going to do a chest bump? ByuN is clearly sending it. Oh, he taps him on the shot. Hey! Where you going? And you may block? At this point, I mean, now that Hero got a tag on him, you are it, SCV. You just gonna do it anyways? Hanging out. And then, of course, they're gonna go right by the men's club. And then nuke Cola, destroy Thirst. Good advertisement. And he goes for the engineering bay block anyways. The workers harassing one another. Disputing each's presence here. Hero just pulls the probes down. He caught it early enough that it seems like a... Oh. He didn't cancel it. He just lost another. I mean, it's like 94 minerals, I believe. And he kills the probe. What a mess. This is not... These are not major game-changing mistakes. But they are very consistent with how both players have played. Are you... Sure, just take the back base. He'll never expect that. You know, it might work. He might somehow fool Hero into thinking that he's one-basing. I seriously doubt it, but I'm sure that's the thought process here. Why not? Maybe get a little advantage. That base has only 4 mineral patches and 2 gases. But obviously it's a little further back as well. As the Adept will likely come in. That SCV is, probably should have taken a sick day, but I don't think they heal on their own anyway, so... What a series. This is almost nostalgic. Watching ByuN versus Hero just drown each other in a kiddie pool. After watching so much Clem versus Max Packs, this is like this is the drinks afterwards. All right. We'll start with 3 soju's, the whole bottle, and we'll work from there. And I assume that's what they said before this series started. Adept knocking on the door. Hero? Well, it worked. He hasn't spotted the command center. But this is not stopping Hero from doing a surprising amount of damage. He's not going to kill the depot. He knows the Marines are there. It's a little odd. At this point, you would be expecting like a cyclone or something. There's a 3rd Adept on the way across. He went Robo, but... No but. I'm not even going to point out the Robo. What a crazy... No, this is... We're so far off the rails, there might as well never have been a train at this point. It's... Warp Prism on the way. Dropships for both sides. Yes, so far, no circus is complete without a set of jugglers. He spots the SCVs, and now he realizes that ByuN just took the back pocket base. What a weird choice. And he's just gonna take the 3rd base anyways, down on the low ground. I mean, and spotted the medevac. Sure. Alright, 2 ships passing in the broad daylight. The medevac, Hero, off center, looking for it. Siege tank, yeah, that's not gonna work. Might be able to get 1 SCV. Meanwhile, Widowmine drop heading into the main. Stalkers warped in. The probes, could have gone better. 4 probes. He picks up the mines, but Hero snuck around, killed a few SCVs as well. Now headed back to the main. There and back. And there and back again. A very expected journey. Recalls the Warp Prism before the Viking can realize it's supposed to be chasing it down. And now both players are kind of forced. No, what? Where are you going? Why are the SC... What? What are you... The SCVs kind of... Are you attacking? Are you not attacking? Are half of you attacking? What in the middle management hell is this? Ah, yes. We're going to send 6 SCVs. He pulled, like, all the SCVs. He sent some of them back. I'm not sure what the 6... I mean... Okay, sure. Why not? Drops the SCVs in the main. Yep, here we go. Here we go again. Juggling the immortals. The SCV's trying to protect. There's just not enough army, but the Widow Mines will drop into the main. Hero reacts. How many probes? 5 probes. Hero wins. Yep, 3-3. We're all tied up. ByuN kind of freestyling that entire build from the start. And it only went downhill from the SCV getting tapped on the shoulder by a probe. Clearly that upset. Okay, I need to... Jimmy, get into the game. It's 3-3, but I need you to see what I just saw. We're gonna go to the very start of the game. The very first thing Hero does, before even doing some silly probe split, is send a probe out. So, there's only 2 different types of probe scouts for Hero. The very beginning of the game, or not at all. I guess ByuN has been pretty much the same way throughout, so. 3-3. An absolute cheese-filled extravaganza. And it is cheese. Let me discuss. Today, this filler discussion will be the difference and the overlap between cheese and all-in. Cheese, in my definition, you can disagree, and you can also be wrong. There's a lot of overlap there. Hero, like, you really fell for that? What are you, Diamond? Of course, the clap. Cheese is anything that becomes at least twice as strong, like 50%. Cheese is anything that's significantly stronger if it isn't scouted. Good examples are like proxy factory siege tech, or battle cruiser, or maybe tube racks or bunker rush. Things that, if they're scouted early, you can build a shield better, you can have a response. All-ins, many cheeses are all-in. Anything that requires you to sacrifice your potential economy, that if it gets defended, you almost have no response, that's an all-in. Most cheeses are all-ins, but not all all-ins are cheese. Like, for example, the tank marine push that you see so often from Terran. A lot of the time that is all-in. You bring enough SCVs along, the tanks and the marines, but if you don't handle it well, you can still lose. Even if you know it's coming for a minute, 2 minutes, at the beginning of the game, because they've done it every single game. It doesn't matter. So ByuN laughing there. I know the Korean character for laughing. I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure Hero trash talking him about his SCV micro, or lack thereof. You like them probes, and ByuN, as a Terran player, has never ever liked probes. In fact, his blood pressure has been permanently raised since the first time one started harassing the SCV building his barracks, probably in the Brood War. But I digress. ByuN quite well known, especially against Hero and Dark, for carrying on seemingly entire conversations while also playing the game, which unfortunately doesn't seem to have that excuse for much of the gameplay so far, but maybe you should get to it. And if we have any translators in the comments. But I think my assessment is pretty accurate based on experience with both of them. Stargate on the way. And now there's just a zealot slicing at the door. Meanwhile, Widowmine burrows. And here we are again. ByuN kind of stuck on his high ground. Hero with a Stargate on the way. Will Hero try the Adept Shade? Not even bothering. Widowmine drop will be the choice for ByuN. Now, this is his game to lose based on our current trend, but... The Adepts, the Orbital. Are you coming all the way back? He came down, Hero was still there, and he's like, no. And now he's going back. Okay. Okay, ByuN. Cyclone and Liberator behind. Adepts, yeah, come on in! He splits the Adepts, gets a full scout. Pretty clever move there. Drop is coming across. More Phoenixes being chronoed out. Widowmine drop is going to be the most important part of this. One Zealot left behind. And the Widowmine picks up one, picks up two. Probes are pulled. He's going to deal with the Marines. But, in the... Okay. Yep. This is happening. Okay, takes out the medevac and pick up one more Marine potentially. Or the Adepts can hunt them down. Wow, that's it's pretty hardcore here. He might actually be able to kill one. Hero does micro back. Marines are slaughtered. Well, another hectic start. Cyclone locks on. 2 Cyclones now. Meanwhile, Adept Shade's headed back the other way. Liberator gonna siege up. There is no response to this right now. Hero does not react quickly. He's gonna lose a lot of probes. And the mining time to boot. He forces out a recall. He's not mining from the entire base. The Phoenixes, they don't kill it that quickly either. So 4 probes and not mining from his main base for like 20 seconds. Mining time is usually one of those things casters say to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. But in this case... And it, like, that's 3 or 4 full trips. You can see the almost heartbeat sensor there of Terran income advantage. But Hero now thinking about chasing the Cyclones, which is big game hunting indeed. The Viking can land to actually dodge the Phoenixes, but of course then the Phoenixes can pick it up, bring it back into the sky, and create one of the more awkward situations in StarCraft 2. Hallucinated Phoenix being sent out. A less risky option for scouting. Robotics facility is halfway done. Wait. Yes, okay. And charge is on the way. So... Is there a 3rd command center? No, but ByuN does have plenty of barracks. He does not have an add-on on barracks 4 and 5, which means the tactic boys are pulled. And this is it all in. This is not a cheese. Hero knew this was coming. At least some version of it to an extent. But that does not lessen the strength, as Hero didn't have that much economy to really build up a response. This is a robust unit composition. He's got the siege tanks, he's got the SCVs in order to repair them and potentially build some bunkers. Hero's building a 2nd Templar Archives, which you can't bring that into the next game. Clearly, he wants Templar, and clearly, he's panicking to get them. But having a couple hundred less gas right now is certainly not going to help as the bunker push begins. ByuN bunker! Ah! A ByuNker rush! There's some stasis wards, but he's not playing against Zerg. The charge lots are filing through. There is no stim, but he doesn't need it. The siege tanks are doing terrible, terrible damage to the Protoss army. Everything will be obliterated. The stasis may... Okay, it gets taken down. But Hero just doesn't have enough. Did the 2nd Templar Archives finish? It did. ByuN finally finds the tank push he's been looking for several times in this series. And now it's Stim and Meta. Oh, it's over. It's over. ByuN. It flip-flops back to his side of things. And Hero will make one last dramatic attack that will fail horribly and do almost nothing, but I do appreciate him trying it all. And everything is pulled. Here comes Hero. He's got Immortals. He's got Archons. He's got Adepts. He's got Probes. And he's got 2 Gs. ByuN takes it. It's 4-3. We're going to match point. What a series. Of all the series I've ever seen, this is one of them. Oh my. Well, and now it's Hero's turn, obviously, at this rate. The pendulum swings and smacks both these players in the head on the way, giving them mild concussions, and then we load into the next game, where ByuN looks to close this out. Though I think there's a very real chance of us going to the full 9 games at this rate. Thank you for sticking with me. You know, at first, when we started this series, not really that long ago, it feels like we've taken a whole journey. But I thought my commentary, I felt off, to be honest. Like, I wasn't nailing it, all right? Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off, sometimes you're in between, all right? That's what your mother taught me, but you know what? It wasn't me. It was them, all right? I blame these two geriatric nerds who are about my age, but for this tomfoolery, these shenanigans. Everything has been so tuned for Clem versus Max Packs, for this perfection, this bleeding edge of gameplay, that when we watch ByuN versus Hero, it just feels wrong. Like we're singing a different tune, and it's auto-tuned, and somehow still out of tune. And how many more tune-based metaphors can we make by the end of this as the Triforce of Protoss? He does cancel the engineering bay. At this point, most of you have tuned out and are only having it in the background, so either way, like and subscribe. It's still going. And I have no idea how it ends, which is actually amazing. All right. I love how little I can tell of what's going to happen in these games. It's following the same trend, but they're so... Hero desperate for the Templar Archives in last game, which feels like a misread of the situation. Feels like if you see that ByuN is going for the mass barracks push on 2 base, you're not going to make the Templar work. Even a couple Archons, probably not going to work out. In that case, maybe even some more sentries, chrono boosting Immortals, just trying to get enough charge lots. Thing is, there were so many Marines on the field, which is also a lot to contend with. So, I don't know what the right call to make was, but Hero clearly finding the wrong one. We're back to the Twilight Council. They reassert themselves after that debauchery in the previous match with the Stargate into Robo and then Twilight. Again, ByuN thinking about the Widowmine drop. The sentry going to calmly ask the Reaper to leave as it tickles it with its beam. Succeeds. Widowmine, ah yes, a classic tactic of put the Widowmine in a random location and hope for the best. And he may actually hit the hallucinated Phoenix, hilariously. Well, Hero spots it. Now he knows there's a Widowmine. So this demonstrates why you don't usually see Stargate. Though I do think ByuN was setting that up for the hallucinated Phoenix. Because if you're not staring at your Stargate unit literally the entire time it goes across the map, that was the meta right there. That was the meta for like 2 years. Was just put a Widow Mine in a random location. Because Protoss were still trying to do Stargate most of the time against Terran. Nowadays, we've discovered that Blink Stalker's out of the way, and everything else is straying from the path. But, and Hero's back on the path, by the way. But, the mini game of playing Minesweeper, but you just have to kind of guess, because the mine could be any... Did he just get 2 probe kills with a Reaper that, at like the 4.5 minute mark? Yes. But I digress. But yeah, the... Hope you don't fly over the Widow Mine in a random location, literally anywhere on the map. Not exactly the most engrossing meta. Widow Mine's been nerfed. Actually nerfed a couple times, but that doesn't stop some Terrans from... I'm really surprised he didn't retarget onto the Sentry for that one. Bit of a lackadaisical Widow Mine drop there, to say the very least. And that was before Blink is done. That was... Okay, that was just lazy. Just flies right in. Loses everything. Doesn't target the Sentry. ByuN not cooking up a recipe for success here. But he does still have that Liberator in the corner flying off into the orbital sunset. Stalker's popping over the little graphical glitch corner. And Hero... Did he bring the Sentry along? No, he's got the Observer now. A Bulwark in the main. Don't just blink blind like... Oh my god, he didn't even look to see if there was a tank, but he's gonna get stem. It's denied. The Siege Tank is doing a lot of damage, though. He just lost 4 Stalkers. Why is there an SCV in the main? Somehow distracting. There was a Stalker in there to kill it. The classic SCV Liberator bait and switch. Billy, we told you it was dangerous to go alone. Ah! No, that's not it. That's not gonna work. He still gets a probe. 2 probes. Which is more than he really deserved, but... it's a Liberator, so... Need I say more? Charge is completed. We're only 7 minutes in. Somehow this game has felt like 15. Which is a very... Okay, it's not that specific of a number, but it definitely feels like more than 7. But for once, nobody getting punched in the face, at least currently. They're both going to sit back and build up some. Armory's on the way. +1 ground weapons for Hero. I think he just finished a Robo Bay. Indeed he did. No Colossi yet. Actually has to finish a couple more pylons first. But he starts a 4th Nexus as well. So, we got +2 ground weapons and +1 armor coming up for ByuN. And then combat shield completing. Hero will have the Colossi. He will have the fixins here. He will not have that one observer in the most conspicuous possible location as ByuN scans it and takes it out, but... No. Double Ghost Academy from ByuN. Pulling a Hero here. Maybe he wants to go Nuke and Cloak at the same time. I think he just canceled one. No, he finished one, and he still has another one on the way. As they say, great minds think alike, but less great minds think even more aliker. As doubling up on the tech buildings. There is a practical purpose for multiple Ghost Academies. I just don't think ByuN will be taking advantage of it. 1 medevac taken out of the sky. Force fields, not sure who is more inconvenienced by them. But Hero, looking to get aggressive. He has one Colossus. He has one Immortal. He has a couple Sentries. And he has a bone to pick here. Extended Thermal Lance will be done for his one Colossus. Oh, second one's stepping up. Spots the Observer. There's not that many Vikings. Just 2 of them for now. More Raptors on the way. Plus 2 weapons about to complete for ByuN, but Hero's pretty much maxed out. Wow. It's just been warping in religiously with those zealots, which makes sense. And the siege tanks, he just lugs forward. Hero just throws it all in there. And we're gonna see how it shakes out. The Stalkers on the low ground helping out a lot. ByuN evens up the supply pretty quick. Hero, well, the haphazard attack does not find resounding success, but it doesn't seem to be enough to deter Hero from trying it again. A bit more methodical, taking down some of the depots. Disruptor shot, and doesn't find it, but he runs up into the Colossi in the side with the SCVs. Why are they here? They're pulled off the line. They eat a couple swipes from the Colossi, but ByuN just dives in and drowns in splash damage. 25 SCVs dead. He doesn't beat the army. The ghosts, and yep, we're going to game number 9. Okay. Oh, well. Here we are. No, Hero just kind of shows up and waves his Colossi around, and ByuN, he can't help himself. He dives right towards them, and in an attempt to take them down, ends up losing most of his economy and all of his army. And now, of this Enki Alexander Pro Series, we're going to the ace match. Game 9. These two pushed to the absolute limit and beyond, and up and down, and breaking all the rules and putting them back together again. Through all the fire and the fury of this series, the cheese, the all-ins, the micro, the anti-micro. We've seen, well, honestly, we've seen kind of the same builds most of the time, but the execution has been different. The mind games have been erratic, yet inspiring. And the gameplay has been, well, I hope you think at least entertaining. So thank you again to Enki for being inspired to put on these top-tier show matches. And what a way to start. I hope you've enjoyed. And if you have, and you've made it to the final game, assuming it's not a draw, which, you know, I wouldn't take it off the table. Be awesome if you could like and subscribe. Well, according to the trend, this is ByuN's game. I've never seen, I don't know if that's true, but very rarely, even in close series, do the games just literally go back and forth. But it's been ByuN Hero, ByuN Hero, ByuN Hero, ByuN Hero. And it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out who comes up next. So can Hero break the trend? Or will ByuN bring it home? We're on King's Cove. This is the largest map, by the way. And size does matter. Especially when it comes to early cheeses. Being able to get across the map with an army after winning a fight or losing one is incredibly important. And Hero opts for the Stargate yet again. Well, it's going to be Reactor Reaper. The SCV will escort the probe out of the base. The Reapers come down. He's actually just going to show both. I guess if you show one, it's pretty obvious, as he already has the reactor. Now the Adepts sending the Shades out and kiting back just in case, because he can't risk getting caught by these early units. Oracle is on the way first. We'll see if he counters Shades again. Shades forward this time. Shield battery to help defend against potential Reaper. Uh-oh. Oh, well, this... He got one Reaper. But... bit off more than he could metaphorically chew. Not an ideal start. The Oracle going to be a very important part of the defense. The Oracle, especially with energy recharge, should have enough to easily shoo away any of these units. He's just going to keep it back at home, tucked into the mineral line, trying to make sure that ByuN commits. And he lights it up. He actually just runs past. Doesn't care that the Oracle is killing his units. Trying to use that kind of awkward acceleration. And the Reaper gets one more kill. 3 probe kills. He sacrifices his entire army for 3 probe kills, but you know what? It keeps Hero at bay. The Reaper Hellion very unlikely to get anything done past this stage. Was it worth it? It doesn't really matter, because once he's committed, it's not like he can go back. The Oracle is faster, and would have chased him down anyway, so. The Cyclone, off to the side of things. He's got to well, this is certainly... This is happening. Well, who could have seen that coming? The Cyclone! The Oracle flies into the Marines, but another Oracle! Even more Oracles! And now the Adept is in the main! And the Oracle is as well, but the Cyclone locks on. That lets the other Oracle get away. And the revolving door continues. It's just, we're pirouetting around now. As ByuN loads up the Cyclones into the medevac, and he's not going to let bygones be bygones, and he's not going to be happy until these Oracles are gone. So Hero's army is 2 Oracles and 2 Phoenixes, whereas ByuN now has the Cyclones and a medevac, which could technically counter all of it, but practically isn't the easiest thing. More Phoenixes on the way. Twilight Council. We've got the double Cyclone drop still sharking around. It could be picked off by Phoenixes easily. This is a liability now that ByuN has stuck around so long, but that has never stopped him before. A Spylon is on the way, but it's not completed yet, which means ByuN will have an opportunity to pull back. Still no vision there. So Hero did not spot the medevac. Meanwhile, Revelation spawns the Rex in the main. Triple threat on the way. Stim combat shield +1. And it looks like both players going to be locked into a pretty macro-oriented game yet again. We'll see how long it lasts. Oracle. Round and round we go. Where do we stop? Nobody knows. On patrol. Charge on the way. The double Cyclone drop. Also, there was a pylon over here. Just kind of registering that now. +1 in charge. Medevac working its way around the corner. What is this? He's hunting. He's zeroing in. He's triangulating the medevac. He's gonna try to get the Cyclones out. Somehow he'll get both, but they're picked up. Everything will be finished off, and they're knocked down. He at least gets a couple lifts out of him, I guess, as the Cyclones are ripped apart. ByuN now moving out onto the map. Both players just throwing whatever they have onto the field, because of course they are. As mass Phoenix Oracle This could all go horribly wrong so fast. There was a stasis, apparently. Well, I have no idea when he put that one down. And, well, picks up the Cyclone. Without... Force Field. Picks up the Marines, which saves them from the Force Field area. The charge lots are helping out. No upgrades for Hero against the +1 of ByuN. So, that sentry popped by the Marauder. But Hero does have a third base and a 10-worker lead. He decided to put his Templar Archives to help wall off the third base, which is another one of Hero's bespoke wall-ins that he's so very, very creative at. Yeah, wouldn't want one of those valuable gateways to be out in the middle of everything there. That would have really messed up his controller. Okay, well, the second Widow Mine could have been devastating. The first one was only traumatizing. Almost killing one Phoenix, softening up the rest. ByuN doesn't have much of a supply lead, which is because he's down 10 supply. But the army supply, on the other hand, is in his favor. But some Phoenixes catching the medevacs as they come out of the starport, spawn camping. It's a valid strategy. And very effective. The supplied Home Depot over there picking up multiple Widow Mines, huge pickoffs and pickups here. Recalls back home. He scans forward and ByuN. What an awkward situation to be in. And on the way back, the stasis. He's skirting the edge of it and he doesn't even know it. Meanwhile, Hero gonna chase him down. He spotted the army retreating. But the Widow Mines, he spots one. He doesn't spot the other ones on the high ground. I believe they spotted the army, not that it matters much. A couple more mines. Loses one Oracle. Takes out a couple more mines. ByuN still on the high ground, though. Another Revelation. Spots... Oh, he doesn't spot that first mine. Oh, it's gonna hit hard. Knocks out a Phoenix. Softens up some more. But he clears out the front line, at least. There are 3 ghosts on the way. The Widow Mine's still forcing quite a toll here. The missile turret, an armory, and an engineering base. These two are addicted to building important tech buildings at the front because it'd be far too hard to just move your screen somewhere else. As you know, a proxy gate over to the northern side because of course there is. A stasis. Did he spot it or did he just happen to turn around at that exact timing? Meanwhile, another mine. Stasis catches a bit of it. He drives them into the mine and the Oracle goes down. And without it, well, there are 6 Widow Mines on the map. I'll let you figure out. You and Hero get to figure out where they are. We see at least 1, 2 more coming out. EMP washes over the Phoenixes. And the main weakness of the Phoenixes here is shown. They just don't deal with the late game options very well. Ghosts can wipe out most of their effectiveness and HP. Widow Mines continue to plague them as they get chased across the map. And they aren't particularly good at dealing with anything on the ground once you get enough Marines. Sure, they can help zone out the Vikings, but Hero, I'm sure, knows that they're kind of reaching their expiration date at the moment. Trying to make as much use of them as possible. Now, this is hilarious. 4 medevacs and actually 0 anti-air because the Phoenixes are on the other side of the map. Hero has no way to kill these units. So ByuN will be able to drop out his entire army because of course he can. A scan will spot the Phoenixes and there are ghosts on either side of this. So ByuN actually might be able to fight his way out. He picks up into the medevacs. There's not enough anti-air. The Viking will be sacrificed. And somehow both sides make it back to their corners with relatively minimal losses. Well, this is about as late game as we've gotten throughout this entire series. It all rides on this one. There are 41 Zealots on the field. The overwhelming majority of the army is Zealots. But he's up against Marines, Marauders, and Ghosts. The Colossi caught out in front, trying to get some damage, throw some force fields. The Zealots are sprinting into the third base and sprinting out of the third base. Unfortunately, I think he already used the recall recently. Well, the Zealots are coming in. EMPs wash over everything, Zealots and Phoenixes alike. And Hero loses a huge amount of supply so quickly. He lost 29 Zealots, a Phoenix, and a Sentry for like a half dozen bio units and a couple mines, which is not an ideal trade. Hero now has... Wait, did he block his own base with that pylon? Oh my god. So he just... Instead of killing the pylon, he just took another base. Hero! Mike... Hero truly the most freestyle player. EMP hits every single Phoenix, and ByuN is getting dangerously close to maxed out. He is effectively maxed out, and now he has 2/2 upgrades, +1 ship weapons. Hero has 85 probes, which is a bit of a problem, because when he's maxed out, he just has significantly less army supply. The Stalker's out in front. Disruptor! Direct hit! Slaps the Ghost across the face. The Purification Nova lands. And Hero just gonna keep the aggression on because that's the most likely scenario where ByuN will make a mistake. This army of ByuN will beat Heroes in most scenarios where ByuN is able to dictate the terms. So Hero, he might lose significantly more units, but if he can keep ByuN busy, he might be able to land 1 or 2 of those big disruptor balls directly on his face. And that could turn everything around. How many gateways? 18 gateways. Including the proxy. Observer spotting everything. There's 10 ghosts in the army. Another wave of charge lots is warped in. Big disruptors. Looking for the shots. Just fires off. Shotgun blast. EMPs to chase. The Colossi are found. The Phoenixes, there's still a lot of Phoenixes. Disruptor shots. He manages to dodge the disruptor out of the way of the Zealots. The proxy gate is spotted. Well, Hero is now in between the armies, but who is flanking whom? 3-3 is about to finish for Hero. A good disruptor shot comes up short. Another army is chasing. ByuN caught in the corner. Phoenixes, but here comes ByuN from the back! It goes for the full surround. Fires off 2 shots towards the back line. The Marauders are chunked up. Disruptor hit Zealots and Marauders alike. ByuN is actually chasing down the Ruptors, though. The Terran army, he just leaves some of the Colossi behind. Another wave of Zealots is warped in. That Colossus is still going. Still getting a lot of damage done. Reinforcements are sprinting across the map for both sides, but Hero has so much in the bank. 150 to 130 supply. He does manage to turn it around. The upgrades carry him through, and the trend finally is broken. ByuN down 50 supply. Hero still never expanded to the base. He blocked with his own pylon, but he didn't need it. This mule doesn't even want to participate in the group activity anymore, and you know who can blame it? The planetary fortress is the last stand. The disruptor hits a bunch of the SCVs. A widow mine connects. He retreats behind the fortress, but there's nowhere left to run. The raptor shot lands, and GG! Hero in 9. 5 to 4. He was building 4 Ruptors at a time at the end. What a disaster piece of a series. It's all over. Hero truly embodying. It's not about who wins. It's about who's left. And Hero holds the line and brings it to a victory. 100 Zealots dead in 16 minutes. Takes the whole map. What a disaster piece of a series. Thank you to Enki for the inspiration. and sending out the games. And thank you to you for watching. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. I hope this made a significant chunk of your day a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons for bringing in the extra minutes. Big Jiggy Dork, Mario Win. And, well, I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. These segues have been all over the place today, just like the series. But I certainly hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay tuned.
Hell, it's about